Ba bum ba, shibbity bum bum ba ba ba. Hello, this is Matt O'Leary, and albums be coming out like hotcakes. And that's why it's time for April's Big Hitters, where I cover a few of my most anticipated albums of the past month. And leading off today is Chris Cohen with his self-titled third solo album. Chris has toured alongside the likes of Dive and Parquet Courts and Mac DeMarco and Andy Schauf and Cass McCombs. Cohen was a member of the band Deerhoof at one time. He played with Ariel Pink, and he went on from all these different ventures to create two of my absolute favorite low-key psych pop indie albums of the decade, with none of the absurdity, none of the glitz, none of the showmanship of either Ariel Pink or Deerhoof. His first album, Overgrown Path, is just a pure songwriter's record. No tricks, no gimmicks, just modest and genuine brilliance. Take the opening lines from the song Heartbeat, which are sung with just such a quiet confidence, just such an assurance of their quality that there need not be anything more, just those words and that melody. Or the very Tortoise-esque guitar line on Monad, or those brilliant rising piano chords that come over the top. This is close to a 10 out of 10 album for me, seriously. It is executed so perfectly. Every single lick, every single syllable is in its right place. And As If Apart, the second album, is very much the same, if not better. The title track is this little psych and jazz gem with some really deep philosophy kind of nestled in there. It's just such an amazing song. Combining this very wiry, kind of cheap guitar sound and some lo-fi drums and this glitzy synth and Cohen's very lethargic and muffled and morose singing style, you really would not think much of this on paper. But again, it's the quality of the songwriting that's just head and shoulders above anyone else in the style. This new album has a lot of the same elements and somehow is even more low-key than the first two. The production, first off, is clearly more refined, and it just sounds like he's working with a lot more percussive options, like the snare isn't always the same tone, for instance. That carnival synth is still in there, like on Sweet William, which reminds me a lot of the jauntiness of As If Apart. The song Green Eyes is another highlight, which is probably one of the more upbeat tracks. And there's a heavy melancholy on a lot of these songs, just kind of hanging over like a nimbus cloud. Cohen's parents apparently divorced after 50 plus years of marriage, so you can definitely hear him sorting through the wreckage of something like that on songs like The Link or Edit Out, just really trying to understand what it means for the ancestral links and the rippling waves on the family system. The songs haven't stuck with me as much as they did on Overgrown Path and As If Apart, but this thing is definitely growing on me. All the subtleties of this album are definitely worth teasing apart, so it's a 7 out of 10. House of Waters is up next, and they're a jazz band consisting of a 6-string bass and some minimalist percussion and the rare but beautiful hammered dulcimer. It's a very recognizable but exotic sound, played with a ton of finesse and connections to Irish folk music and Indian and African music, and music from all over the world, really. And this new album is their 5th overall, the 2nd on Ground Up Records, which is Snarky Puppy's record label, and it's called Rising. House of Waters' self-titled album from 2016 just boom, put them on the map as an extremely unique act, and I promise, probably one of the most unique bands you're going to hear me cover on this channel. That was their 4th album, but a total reinvention, a total reinvigoration of their sound from 5 years prior. And that album's ability to establish a memorable theme and then just play around with it is continued on Rising. There's just such a refreshing, open air sort of quality to what they're playing, and it's just the polar opposite of sweaty punk music played in a dingy little hole-in-the-wall club. The song The Wall reminds me of a rhythm from The Bad Plus. I love the sound of the kit on this song. It's just so simplistic but so effective at accentuating just the snappiness of that odd time signature. And the song ends with this little section where the bass and the dulcimer are running up and down together at these ridiculous arpeggios. If some metal god played that, we'd be bowing. The chemistry between the trio is unreal. The song Midnight brings back that synth-like bass tone played by Moto Fukushima from one of their better known songs, 17, this time with a lot more eeriness. I don't know what kind of effects or pedals he's using with his bass, but he's able to create such a fluid modulation of pitch that's kind of like a pitch modulated synthesizer, honestly. It's like, it's so amazing, but it's all just a natural vibrato with his left hand. When I play is a song in 4, but with all the syncopated rhythms, it doesn't come across as nearly that straightforward. There's this really cool 4-measure Latin groove at the end. The rhythm section often propels the band into little adventures like that for just a few bars that somehow run seamlessly with the rest of the song and just really prove how well versed all the players are with such a wide diversity, such a wide variety of styles and genres. The song Kites is probably one of the more memorable moments, even if there isn't anything quite as catchy or quite as emotional as 17 or La Semana from the last album. But it's so tender with those swoops of volume up and down with kind of a sforzando pattern. This song is a great encapsulation of the whole record, which is so engaging, so exciting, especially if you're into jazz and other more technical styles. The playing is undoubtedly virtuosic, but also so delicate, so restrained. There's nothing harsh about this whatsoever. And amazingly, this was all recorded in 2 days, so it's a 7.5 out of 10. Bing, bing, ding, 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 bing, bing, bing. Last up is the third solo album, Cows on Hourglass Pond, from Dave Portner, more commonly known as Avey Tare, the Lennon to Panda Bear's McCartney in Animal Collective. Avey Tare's always brought the surreal to Animal Collective with much more bizarre sound effects and just a raw energy to couple with the sweet and smooth melodies of Panda Bear. And Avey Tare's aesthetic definitely has a likeness to Dada. Something he's done a lot better, in my opinion, on this album than some of the other ones is just bringing some repetitive and interesting melodies to the mix. Gone are the slow burning ambient tracks, and instead this sounds a little bit more like a mellow and less erratic version of Centipede Hurts. Both Panda Bear and Avey Tare work wonders with the acoustic guitar and using it as a textural element in their music. The song Saturdays, again, is a perfect example of that atmosphere. I mean, the whole song is carried by this clean acoustic. The bass line somehow sounds both like house music and Tropicalia. The song Our Little Chapter is an ode to friendship with this looping instrumental, and it's just really touching. Taken Boy and Remember Mayan and the closer all continue this dreaminess with just a lilting wooziness. The closer, HORS, is a little play on the basketball game and the Majestic Beast. Yeah, that's right, a closer about horses. And this kind of trivial concept is what I think makes this album a little more approachable than some of his past albums. And just gives it a little bit more charm. The first half of the album is a little bit more upbeat, but still very relaxed. It's kind of cute and wistful, like the best stuff from Feels or Sungtongs, with songs about eye contact and nostalgia and robots. The song Saturdays Again or Casey Yours have those little whimsical lyrical lines and melodies that those albums had too. To me, this is a step back in the right direction for Avey Tare, and definitely one of the most surprising albums of 2019 so far. I don't know what it was, I just really was not expecting much. I feel like I had kind of given up on this guy's solo work, so this one's a 7.5, maybe even an 8 for me. And cut. That's it, and that's all, folks. There are a lot of other albums I'm listening to that you should check out my Spotify monthly playlist for. I make a monthly playlist of some of my favorite songs from the month, so give that a listen in the description box below. And as always, thank you so much for watching.